All right, so I got a job, so I'm kind of excited as all hell for this to get out of here and do things, and within time become more stable. Life seems to be stabilizing, which is nice. I don't know. I don't know what else I can do with this. So I'm thinking, again, about starting the whole Bible reading again, and I'm just trying to get amped up about it because to start the Bible reading, you have to go over the first page, and my God, there's a lot on that first page. So when I read the first page about maybe more than 3 years ago, I found a mathematical theorem in terms of how many days it took to create how many lights, and I determined that there are 12 luminaries created in Genesis 1, and the 12 luminaries consisted of, heaven being the central 69, the Titans being Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, to make a 1 by 3 to go down to the fourth row of creation, which would be all the other, like quasars and nebula, and not stars or planets or moons, everything else. And then you created a great light to rule the day, which is Jupiter, a great light to rule the night, which is Saturn. They might be reversed, I don't know. And then the 2-8 would be radiate constellations, or your fixed rotating stars, the stars. Day 5 happens, and I thought it was just Mars and Sun, but it turns out day 5, the moons of Mars are created before Mars. So there's Phobos, Deimos, Mars, then Sun, and then on day 6 is when Venus, Mercury, Moon were created. So I was like, I went as far as I could with the right hand of God making that matrix, and then I derived the left hand of God mathematically via pattern recognition and signs and symbols of the world as I was doing it. And since then I was able to find a ruler that had all the solar system shit on it, and moons and planets, and I looked at it in reverse order, and voila, I found pretty much a synchronicity with Galilean astronomy and the math that I derived from the 12 luminaries of the Bible. Now that has expanded to 47 lights, 12 to 47, 7-4, dog, D.G if you were to fly spec them together and account for the +2. So your 26 is always your 28. Anyway, your 2-8, 88 fixed rotating constellations. In a fly spec is your magnificent 888. Oh, then I got into the whole, free energy shit, and then I went down that, and I looked at the sacred geometry of, Masonic shit, and land monuments all over the world, and voila, there was a pattern once again. And I looked at the 4 elements, the 5 elements, the 5th element, the platonic solids, and tetrahedron's fire, cube is the earth, octahedron is the air, dodecahedron is spirit, and icosahedron is water. And I determined that there is, based on other synchronicities from other creators all over the world, I didn't do it on my own, I just kind of looked at all the data that all the crazy people were putting out and kind of put it all together. But I think that the order the 5 platonic solids work is that you need to create fire fire is a tetrahedron. You need to create fire or a tetrahedron from the cube of the earth, the Saturn matrix, which has in it a dodecahedron, which has in it an icosahedron, which has in it an octahedron, or a black hole, or white hole, depending on the polarities of the magnets that you construct your device with. And there are 3,858 magnets in a cellular energy device. 3 wheels on the same axle on the 6 faces, and 5 wheels on the same axle on the 8 vertices. Do the math, 3858, shows up in my board, shows up everywhere, So another revelation I had about S. S is big. S is whatever tempted Adam and Eve, a snake. It's a serpent. It's all the bad everything that goes with serpents, and it's just basically knowledge of the 9/11. Okay, we looked at David Bowie. I don't know if you got copyrighted. I got copyrighted in my own country, so other people watched it. That's cool. But essentially, I looked at the back of this album and I saw, there's a space oddity. There's no spaces, so you either be focusing on the letters going this way or the letters going this way, or the number of letters, and this is an example. And all this is a compilation album. It's not like they didn't release this all together. This is like a greatest hits one. But come on, SJCZ, SJD. Then you have Armageddon the Small Way, which are the 18 cells, which are the top 1x9, the 1, 4, 5, 6, 0, the V77, and the X for 18 cells for the R, and Y is 25 for the 25 cells of the Armageddon the Big Way, which would be the top 1x9, the top 1x7, the top 1x5 of the middle, the top 1x3 of the middle, including the 76 1x1, so that comes to 25 cells. So it's Armageddon the Small Way, Armageddon the Big Way, and then your 67 for your center dot, which is 76, but everything's backwards and flipped and everything. Then you have your SJD and your SJC, but you have a Z here for like capitalized, or a circle maybe, or whatever, a 2-6 or a 2-8 around the whole thing. So I see it in groups, and it's like a 3, 4, and then it starts on 5, 6, 7, and 5, 7 is the column jump between the fourth measurement time goes 0, 5, 7, X. 76, because a 7, 5 circled is a 76. Okay, like it's just math, guys. So, anyways, I don't know if you got copyrighted on that. It was fun. Another important thing about the S. So the S in Space Odyssey was pissing me off. 19, 19, 19. There's more to it. There's more to it. You gotta read it backwards, from God's left to God's right. So then it's actually a 91. Now, what is 91? 91 is in the top, I guess, left ventricle of the heart. Okay, so you have your heart. Going from your left to your right, it's going to be 6, 9, 1, 7, 13, 1, 10, 21, 43, 8, 21, 3, 40, 34, 55, okay? There could be two more, like the 9 and the thing under 340 could be included, which I think it is now. Because I'm looking at my old drawing, and my old drawing's off. So like this drawing right here, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cells in the heart. Okay, and I drew the spade really small, but I think I was a little inaccurate there. I think there should be 14 cells in the heart. Okay, and in the spade, potentially also 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe. Anyways, so reason being is this. Okay, so the 9x9 has the spade and the heart kind of sticking out of the bottom. It's taking up more than a 9x9. If you actually count the rows, the rows it takes, it's actually taking a 9x11. Okay, another connection to S, another connection to the root system, another connection to the infinite knot, another connection to the Superman logo. All connecting. The 9x9 comprises of 81 cells. You have to account for all 81 cells in the creation of the 4 card suits, because you need to account for that space around everything. They're kind of like not in the 9x9, they're like in the 7x7. Okay, or a 7x9. Oh, 97 cells in the giant heart. There, that's why. Okay, so what you end up doing is here. You're actually taking up 1, 2, 3, 4 cells extra on the heart, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra cells on the spade. 4, 6 split. Armageddon is 1 of 1 of 4 of 5 of 6 of 0. You're 4, 6. You're 25 and 6 and 4. 25 or 6 to 4. So now if you do simple arithmetic, and you know that you have to have 91 cells, sorry, 81 cells of the 9x9, and you have 4 in the heart and 6 in the spade that are in the last 2 rows of the 9x11. 10 plus 81 is 91. So the 91 now is the minimal, the minimal number of cells needed to create the 4 card suits on the 9x11 matrix. Okay. It's not taking 99, it's taking 91 cells. Like, we're getting closer to 100. Okay, so we're getting closer to the answer. And again, it relates back to the 14,560. It's Armageddon. It's in everything. So anyways, I don't know what to say. Yeah. I spent a lot of time on the first 56 lines. I spent a lot of time on the first 116 lines. I know there's 126 lines, so they really haven't spent much time on the last half. So let's read the the last 10 lines of the first page of the Bible, and see after all of this if it makes any more sense than it ever did. And God blessed the seventh day. I don't like the word bless. Be more. Anyways, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. 2:4. It has a new pi sign there. So it's like the ending of something or the beginning of something. Anyways, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of. Okay, you're formed of dust. You live. All matter that exists in our reality is formed from dust of a cellular energy device that we live in. That's what Genesis 1:1 talks about. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Okay, it's like you're coming from somewhere that's already created. The heaven and the earth is just whatever it's needed to have a cellular energy device that's inside of a cellular energy device, which is now creating consciousness, which we're now going to explain. And then it goes on. Now there's 5 verses in Genesis 1. Okay, it resembles the 5x5 or the top quadrant of the matrix. Okay, the first 5 rows and first 5 columns: 0-dimensional singularity, 1-dimensional v-axis, 2-dimensional y-axis, 3-dimensional x-axis, 4th-dimensional time axis, and it creates a hypercube. It's a 5x5 that contains a 4x4 and a 3x3 and a 2x2. Okay, and it should 3-dimensional spatial coordinates in time, and all of your time is derived from the numbers in those cells in terms of our months, days, years, seconds, everything. Everything's in there, okay? And if you take Genesis 1:1 as like kind of coming from our Genesis, our seed, it describes our seed very well in the first line. It's really, the first 5 verses are really a 1 and a 4. Now, on day 1, 4 lights are created. They say light 5 times in Genesis in the first day, but the 5th time that it's said, I think it's like calling the 4 other times before it a new name, because they call the light day with a capital D, and that's the first time day with capital D is used. So in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So you're in the Mandelbrot set, okay? It's just consciousness of man to evolve by mathematics and understanding energy, evolution of plant life, I guess. Genesis 1:2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Again, you're talking about the waters of a reservoir in the cellular energy device. There's no bubble yet. It's not turning fast enough. The 14 axles that are penetrating it are not turning fast enough to turn the thing on. There's no life yet because we have not gone past very far. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day. D is the 4th letter. D, 4 is a 1, D, A, and Y would be 25. 2 types of fingers and thumb, and you have 5 total. Day, hand of God. Said light 4 times, called the light day, D, A, 2 types, fingers and thumb, and there's 5, 25, Y, day. Wow. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day, because your day begins at noon, you idiots. So, guys, so I got a job. I'm gonna probably do this even less seriously than I had before. But I'm pretty sure that the game of life is to create fire or energy from a tetrahedron, which is from the earth, a cube, which in the cube is a dodecahedron, which represents the platonic solid of spirit, which in the dodecahedron of spirit is the platonic solid of icosahedron, or water, which inside the water is an octahedron, or air, which is a white or black hole depending on the polarity of your magnets. 3,858 of them needed for a cellular energy device. Wake up, people, please. Cheers.